Welcome back to the second day of revising your drafts that we're working so hard on. We're continuing to work on our story plots for the prompt that goes with the International Space Station. At this point, you should be pretty familiar with your story. You should have a good story drafted with a good plot development and your character development and a good setting, and all those things should be in place. And now we are doing some revision. So, yesterday we went through the first two parts of ARMS, the add sentences and words to elaborate on your ideas, and the R part is remove unneeded or repetitive words. So, we did that yesterday with my story. And you were supposed to go back through and do that with your own stories using what you learned from my lesson and what you know about revision. And today I'm going to touch on just the M and the S part. So, moving words or sentences that belong in a different spot and substituting words with synonyms. So, let's look at our draft here. So in yellow, I went ahead and highlighted all the parts in yellow that we added details. Again, I didn't do too terribly much because I already had a lot of details, and I'm mostly modeling for you guys how to do these things, but I'm not going to spend forever on them. And then the things that have the strike throughs, those are the repetitive details that we took out, or some of the words that we simply changed to be something else. So I did leave them on there though and put the strike through symbol so you know they will not be part of my final draft. You can do the same thing if you take something out and you don't want to just delete it and you just want to take it out for now. You highlight it, you go to format, you go to text, and then you choose strike through, and it takes the text out that you don't want anymore. So, just an idea for when you're revising if you'd like to do that. So, for today, like I said, we're going to focus on the two parts of ARMS of moving words or sentences that belong in a different spot and substituting words with words that are more exact, basically synonyms that fit the sentence. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, Amber Marquette loved her job aboard the International Space Station, but some days, like today, were very tiring. I read that first sentence, the word very tiring kind of sticks out to me. I think instead of using very tiring, I'm going to use the word exhausting because being very tired is another exhausting is a synonym for being very tired. So that I'm going to highlight. I'm going to do all the ones that do substitutes. I'm going to highlight those, and let's just do pink just or purple, whatever you think that is. Her work repairing an important computer in the science lab had started at 5 a.m. this morning. Um, it was now 2 p.m., and she was making the final repairs necessary to bring the computer back online. The other word that I started to say this yesterday because I had it written down on my own rough draft, but the word now. So instead of saying it was now 2 p.m., we want to use fourth grade level words here. So we're going to say it was presently 2 p.m. Presently means it's happening now, but it gives it a little bit more of a sophistication there. So it was presently 2 p.m., and she was making the final repairs necessary to bring the computers back online. One more turn, got it, Amber murmured to herself as she secured the last part of the computer that she had taken apart. A sense of accomplishment came over her, but it was quickly followed by an intense wave of hunger. She realized that she hadn't eaten since her quick breakfast of packaged oatmeal at 5 a.m. One of the things Amber looked forward to the most in her day was her lunch in space. Lunchtime allowed her to relax and really enjoy the fact that she was one of the small team of astronauts orbiting Earth in the beautiful ISS. It was also the time of day when she got to enjoy her favorite space food, macaroni and cheese, a brownie, and lemonade, all prepared from a pouch, of course. Brownie time, Amber thought, and she carefully headed from where she was working to Node 1, where her favorite meal awaited her. So this is where we made the change yesterday. Once she arrived at the food containers, she carefully took the packages. We moved the food containers sentence up here. So the reason it's highlighted in green is it actually goes in with the lesson today, which is the moving. I decided instead of it being an added detail, it was took the place of actually moving the detail to where it fit better in the paragraph. So that's one example of when you move a detail, it could be something that made sense before, but maybe there's a even better spot for it for you to look at. Right, so we're going to keep on moving here. Silence. The food room was empty this time of day. Amber used the water dispenser to turn the lemonade from powder into water. She took a huge, refreshing gulp. She belted herself into her chair and sighed deeply. Next, she opened up. Hmm. Next, she opened up the pouch labeled macaroni and cheese. What? What is this? Amber exclaimed. She looked down to discover spaghetti and meatballs in the silver food pouch. The food pouches were never labeled incorrectly. Something about this incident was very suspicious. Amber grabbed the food pouch off the table and glided out of the food room. One thing I noticed about the word glided is we say it here and then we say it again here. So I thought, why not use a word that means something similar instead of repeating it yourself? So this is a substitution. So I'm gonna write a word. Another word for gliding is floating, in this case at least, and floated out of the room because that's what they do around the International Space Station. And I know that from watching the videos. And I believe we said we are highlighting those pink. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So she floated out of the food room. David, she thought, this has to be the work of David. She glided through the halls of the space station until she found herself entering the control room inside. I'm gonna go ahead and skip down because I've read this story to you guys a couple times now. And I'm gonna look at one more spot that I saw and noticed that I thought should be changed. And that was on hmm, I'm so sorry. Hey, Amber, David explained. Blah, blah, blah. Amber left. Okay, okay, he left. Okay, here we go. Um, right here. Yep. Okay, okay, he laughed. I switched the tags on macaroni and spaghetti. Did it surprise you? David couldn't hide his involvement. I think that this sentence would be better at the beginning, so I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it by cutting it, and then I'm going to move it up here. So when we move a sentence, I'm going to put a space there. And I'm going to highlight that green because that is a moving one. So the reason, sorry, it took me a second earlier to find it, is because I have my paper in front of me, by the way. And I don't know if I mentioned that in the last video. When I do my revisions, I am a huge on pencil and paper. So I actually printed my story off and I did all my revisions by hand. And then I go into the computer and make the changes. So that's why I kind of stumble back and forth, just so you guys know. So David couldn't hide his involvement. I think that that needs to go first, and then him saying like, "Okay, okay," he laughed, because we need as readers to be like set up for what's gonna happen. Yes, it was definitely a surprise when I looked down. When I looked down and saw the spaghetti, I instantly knew it was you. She laughed again. Now you're going to come with me so that I can make sure I get the right lunch this time. So this was another one. I think I said I get the right lunch. Instead of the right lunch, I decided that I liked and I get the correct lunch. I'm gonna change that to a better word. The correct lunch. Because right sometimes gets a little confusing, like it's a direction, like the one on the right. So I thought correct would fit better there. So I'm gonna change it to correct. Make sure I get the correct lunch this time. Amber and David leisurely floated towards the food room, chatting about the stressful morning Amber had had before the macaroni incident. This is another one that I want to move. The least David could do is lend an ear after ruining Amber's lunch. I thought that that would fit better at the beginning because it describes like what he's gonna. Lending an ear means that you're listening to somebody, which is figurative language. Um, but I thought it would be better to put it before him actually, me telling the readers about her, telling David or talking to him about her stressful morning, telling the readers like why he's going to be doing what he's doing. It also kind of sets you up to image or imagine or visualize David and Amber like walking and him listening to her. So that's one reason why I thought it was better here instead of after it. This is a hard one to identify, guys, if you, are having difficulty, like, but This is the most common mistake that fourth graders make is putting sentences in the wrong spots because a lot of times you guys have all these wonderful, great ideas, and you just need to make sure that you organize your thinking a little bit better. So take the time to do this, please. So my story goes on, and then I get to this spot down here. Looks like you're getting your dinner early today. Amber handed David the open spaghetti package. I thought that this dialogue actually would fit better. I'm gonna put it after her handing it because I feel like that makes more sense for her to like hand it to him and then say, looks like you're getting your dinner early. But it really probably could work either way. So I'm just putting it there. Um, it could work either way. You guys can decide what you want to do um, with your moving around, but that's just one way to think about what's the best way. How do I want this to sound? And I don't think I saw any other areas that I needed to revise so far. So join me for the lesson tomorrow. It's going to be on editing because I know some of you, it's killing you with these squiggly lines. And we're going to work on some editing that's doesn't even have a squiggly line because sometimes your computer does not identify that. So we're going to go over some of those in our lesson tomorrow, but have fun revising the rest of those, moving things where they fit the best, substituting words that you think are better, higher level. I will encourage you if you don't know, like if I say very, another word for very tired. Okay, and then I type that in. It'll give you synonyms for this. So I could exhaust, it's the first one on here. Fatigued is a great word. So use this as a resource as well, like another word for, and come up with some better words. I will say using the synonym it only works for descriptive, like adjectives. So also keep that in mind. Like you aren't going to find another word for and is obviously and, but words like murmured, even, or um, realizing, those are all words that are describing an action. So you can simply type those in and find some different words to help your writing or make your writing even better. So have fun with it and let your teacher know or me know if you need any help. Bye, guys.